So I'm just taking a little bit of an off-trail walk through the little sandy area. It'll drop down and reconnect with the trail, but there's so much to see along this ridge here. So I'm just going to follow the ridge all the way back down. You see several areas like this where it's not perfectly flat, but it's good enough that you can set up a tent for the night. The main trail is off to my left, but it comes around right back into here. You pick up with the trail. Just about getting to the switchbacks here to my left. I'm going to break off here for a viewpoint. This is Zigzag Mountain, and see that waterfall down there. I'm going clockwise around Mount Hood. If you do the hike counterclockwise, towards the end of the hike, you have about a 3,500 foot elevation gain to make at Zigzag Mountain to get back up to the elevation about equal to the lodge. So when you're doing that clockwise, I mean, it's all relative. You're gonna climb up some ridges and down others, but you descend this 3,000 or 3,500 feet on very likely day one, depending on how early in the day you start. You'll descend 3,000 to 3,500 feet, and then the next day you'll be slowly, as you'll see tomorrow, I'll be slowly climbing back and reaching that elevation to the highest point, which is after Cloud Cap at Cooper Spur. There's another viewpoint off to the left. We're winding our way down. You could hear the water down below. We'll meet up with that river as it connects with the Sandy down at the bottom of Zigzag Mountain. As I'm descending, not into low elevation, but lower than I was, you'll see different kind of mushrooms down here compared to the ones that were at the upper elevation. There's quite a few off in this area. If you know what kind of mushrooms they are, comment and let us know. You can see the sun setting on the other side of the hill there. I'm sure it's probably about 6:30 p.m. and sunset right now is probably sometime before 7 p.m. Let's see another switchback. Working my way down an elevation all the way down There's not too many camp spots as you're coming down Zigzag Mountain. You'll find a few off to the side or where there's kind of an opening before a steep drop off or something with a nice view. You'll find a few. But when you get down closer to the Sandy River on the left or the west side, you'll find there's several flat camp spots that can be used if they're available. And they're along what I believe is where the Zigzag River ties into the Sandy, but they're close to the Zigzag River. There's an area towards the bottom of Zigzag Mountain where you'll see a lot of fallen timber. If you spend too much time looking up, you'll probably see a fallen branch hanging from something that doesn't look so secure. So yeah, down here at the bottom or towards the bottom of the canyon, you see a lot of fallen timber. And some years, like during the lockdown, the volunteer groups weren't able to get up here and clear stuff off the trail. So a lot of these trails were restricted, and it was pretty rough to climb over and through a lot of stuff when they weren't able to clear it. You can hear the water now getting closer, winding my way down in elevation, getting closer to the campgrounds. Here's the first area where you start to see some flat camping spots. It'll keep descending, and there'll be a few more. All of them will be before reaching the Sandy River. And actually, the river right here on my left will border several of the lower elevation camp spots. But you can see down below there, people will hike down and climb down just to be right next to the river and to camp right along the river. Well, there's the last few campsites there on the riverway. You tell we're coming out of the big tree forest area into a clearing. There's one more open area down here at the bottom of the trail. And then there's the river crossing. So with the sun in the sky, I have to make a choice if I want to set up camp. Here's the last little clearing here. I either set up camp here, or if I cross the river, I'm going to need to make it to Ramona Falls and hopefully have enough daylight. So came prepared with a headlamp just in case, but I'm going to take a look at how heavy the river flow is, make a decision on crossing today or in the morning. There's a few spots here where some rocks aren't too far apart. If you look down below, there's a branch run across the water. So I'm going to unclip my waist pack and my backpack here, and I'm going to take an attempt to cross. You can see the sun on the mountain above me there as it's setting in the distance. So, all right, let's see if I could find a decent place to cross. Well, I think this is about as good as it's going to get. So here's where we cross. That wasn't bad at all. This is one of the cairns, but I came up a little ways before crossing, so I got to head back down a little bit to pick up the trail again. Sun's going down in the distance there, and I decided I was going to go ahead and continue on into the sunset and try to reach Ramona Falls. And there's plenty of spots to camp out over at Ramona Falls. I picked up on the pathway. Had to come back down, follow the river a little further than I expected, but then you finally pick up on the trail. See a few streams going by. We'll work our way across here, pick up the trail at the ridge over here. Well, I made it up out of the ridge from the Sandy River. To my left is the Ramona Falls parking lot. It's a little ways down. Maybe it's 2.5, 3 miles, but there's a loop trail that'll bring you from Ramona Falls parking up to Ramona Falls. Then you could loop around the other way. So I'm going to take a right, and I'm going to follow the Timberline Trail through Ramona Falls. The Timberline Trail, right after the falls, you cross a bridge and you turn to the right to stay on Timberline Trail number 600. If you stay straight after you cross the bridge at Ramona Falls, you'll stay on Pacific Crest Trail. Ironically, the two will meet up again at Top Spur Trailhead, and I won't get that far tonight, but my next stop is Ramona Falls. Just arrived at Ramona Falls. There's the bridge. There is Ramona Falls. Well, made it to Ramona Falls last night. Set up camp. It's getting dark a little early. Sunset's before 7, but there's still some light in the sky. Just like sunrise is at almost 7 a.m. up here, and it's 6:54, so you can't see the sun right now because of the mountains and the trees and everything, but a little bit of sunlight in the sky. So I've got my water filtered, got my tea set up with a hot water boiler, and the breakfast of champions right there, Pop-Tarts. Ready to get started. Today I'll be leaving Ramona Falls, going through Muddy Fork. I'll pass Top Spur. There's a little trailhead there where the Pacific Crest Trail intersects with Timberline Trail. But then I'll keep going on the Timberline up towards Elk Grove, some meadows there before reaching Cloud Cap, and we'll see where we're at for the day by then. Somewhere either between Cloud Cap or maybe just a little bit beyond there will be good for the day. So it's almost 7 a.m. and we'll see how the day goes and how long it takes for the hike. We're starting the day at Ramona Falls this morning. It's a really nice view. There is a parking lot for Ramona Falls. You could turn off of Highway 26, head towards Lalo Pass, and then turn right a little ways in, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 miles, turn right towards Ramona Falls parking trailhead. But the hike itself is 3.5 miles to the falls, and you can actually go across the bridge when you get here and you're ready to return, and there's like a loop so you can cross the bridge on the way back and loop back to the parking lot. It's about 7 miles total. I went ahead and collected some water. The next area I'll be stopping at is Muddy Fork, and as the name implies, the water can be a little murky, so I went ahead and collected some water here off of the Ramona Falls. And that's about it for the morning. Have to get started and get some motivation, and hopefully we'll reach Cloud Cap or beyond this afternoon. As you pass the bridge at Ramona Falls, you'll want to take the trail up, going uphill to the right here to follow Timberline. If you stay straight, you'll be on Pacific Crest Trail. Now both of these trails will meet up again at Top Spur Trailhead, but the Ramona Falls return to the parking lot and the Pacific Crest Trail stay straight. Timberline Trail number 600 goes to the right. So leaving Ramona Falls, the Timberline Trail really takes a steep climb right away coming up this ridge. If you follow the PCT, you can reach the same intersection at Top Spur Trailhead, but the PCT side, it winds down a little ways. You cross the river, and then it's more of a long climb. The side right here goes pretty quick, climbs up pretty quickly out towards Muddy Forks. Back in around 2020 or 2021, I believe it was 2021, some fires came through this area up ahead and wiped out a lot of plants and trees and things. And then the rain followed and it wiped away a ridge that the trail crossed. So this trail was inaccessible for a couple years, and all of the Timberline Trail hikers had to follow the PCT side to Top Spur. And so it's 2025 now, September 26th, and this trail is reopened. I don't know exactly when it opened, but in the past year and a half or so. So it's good to be able to see this part of the mountain again. I don't know why I always start the day wearing a jacket or a sweater, knowing that the first ridge you start climbing up, you're going to take the jacket off and fold it up. So made a break there, a little ways up the ridge, and going to fold up this coat So as you start your morning hikes, keep that in mind. If there's any kind of uphill to begin the day, you're probably not going to need your coat. As you get to the top, well, I wouldn't say the top, but as you get to where the trail splits, it might be a little rough to read there, but Yoakum Ridge Trail goes off to the right that way. And that, pretty steep hike, but it takes you up really high in elevation to where you get a really good view of Mount Hood. Timberline straight ahead. That ridge there is the ridge I had mentioned that fire swept through and mudslides washed some of this trailhead away around this area here as well. Be following the pathway along towards Muddy Fork. It's going to loop back to the ridge on the other side. The far side, I think that's Bald Mountain Ridge, but we'll loop back around to Top Spur Trailhead, and around the other side of Bald Mountain Ridge, on the other side, the trail will loop back up towards McNeil Point and then Elk Cove. It's another one of those areas where you'll see fallen trees coming down the ridge. You got to kind of duck under. They do a pretty good job, you can see, of cutting stuff away and clearing the path. But sometimes you will have to climb over tree stumps or logs along the way. Waiting to see if I can actually see the sunrise, because the mountains in front of me, it may take a little longer before I actually see the sun. You can see the northwest side of Mount Hood now, and I can hear the water flowing down below at Muddy Fork. Some really nice views. The water coming off the mountain. A lot of this is still from snow melt coming off the glacier that remains up on Mount Hood year round. So most of the year you'll find water running as you do this hike on the Timberline Trail around the mountain. I know there's a few of you mushroom lovers out there. That one's growing off the side of the tree right here. See quite a few different types of mushrooms all along the pathway here. Some of those grow pretty big. That's just one. Sometimes you'll see a bunch of them all together. Some of these trees like this, you have to kind of bear hug. This one's a smaller one, so your backpack can rotate underneath. Otherwise, your backpack will hit the tree. So I've had to do a few of those along the way where these trees have fallen. If you do take the hike, you will come up on a few tough spots where you got to climb some rocks. And just know it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. And so you want to be prepared. Take your time. But there are some steep ridges, so you want to make sure you have your footing before you take that next step. Otherwise, it could be your last. Now, I'm almost to the waterways of Muddy Forks. You're starting to see a few flat and cleared out areas where people camp for the night. There's not too many, but there are a few just before Muddy Forks. Crossing Muddy Forks now. See, the water's not too bad, but sometimes it's a little more murky here than a few of the other areas. So you can collect water where you see some of the waterfalls along the way, or you can wait to get to the main stream. Well, there's Mount Hood behind me, crossing Muddy Fork right now. This is Bald Mountain Ridge. Wish there was a way to go up right there, but got to loop all the way around the ridge in the distance and come back up the other side. So, time to get at it.